Now just try to follow this. In our modern way of living, the body is trained to leap at shadows on the wall. A picture crosses the mind, an invoice, a lab result, a headline, a conversation that hasn't yet taken place. And at once the chest tightens, the breath shortens, the planning machinery begins to clatter. What if? What if this breaks? What if that leaves? The pulse runs as if the wolf is in the room, though there is no paw on the threshold. The mind races as if the verdict has been rendered, though no court has been convened. We as students know that the body is honest about what it believes. It takes a future image and treats it as present substance. It is not wicked. It is simply obedient to the picture it has been given. Now follow this, and please remember it, because it is the doorway out. The what if isn't a warning. It is a temptation to leave God. Oh, no, no, no. Do not dignify it as information. It is the whisper that invites you to step out of the sanctuary of presence and down the corridor of projection, to exchange the I am for a not yet, to move from God as here to God as maybe later. That is its entire power, not fact, not law, not spiritual authority, only the power assigned to it when you treat imagination as a second teacher. We must make the distinction clear and final. One must choose one or the other. Either you are abiding in the felt omnipresence of God now. God is, and that is enough to know. God is, that's all. Or you are living in a mental future where God appears, at best, as a rescuer to be scheduled later. There is no middle kingdom. Divided consciousness is not safety. It is the very panic. Please remember, the temptation is not about the event at all. It is about relocating your center. The what if proposes a universe in which God is absent and must be summoned. Spirit declares a universe in which God is the only presence, the only power, the only life, already. So then, what are we to do when the picture flashes and the breath shortens? We do not adopt 10 techniques, nor do we bully the mind with willpower or paint over the fear with positive phrases. Oh no, not many prayers, not many devices. One prayer. A single turning that returns consciousness to God as here. We will use it in this work. Father, reveal thyself here. Thy peace is mine. Not to bargain with tomorrow, but to awaken to God now. And this becomes our measure. Not have I improved the forecast. Not have I assembled a safer future. The aim is my peace, felt, present, carryable. Peace first, then anything else that follows. The moment the temptation appears, we need not argue with it or dress it in better colors. We return. We let God be God. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty, even here, even now. My peace. My peace. Now just try to follow this, because it must be settled once and for all. Actually, there is no relationship between the future picture and your present safety. They are entirely separate and distinct. The slideshow in the mind is not prophecy, not guidance, not reality. It is a picture, only a picture, executed by imagination, borrowing the colors of yesterday and the headlines of today. Please remember this point. The safety of your being is not a creature of images. It is established of God, in God, as God. God is, and that's enough to know. God is, that's all. How then does fear seem to gain such authority? By our consent to treat imagination as evidence. We confer credentials upon a shadow. We stamp it with urgency. and then we bow to the paper crown we ourselves have placed upon its head. Oh, no, no, no. That is not law. That is hypnosis. The whisper in the corridor has no jurisdiction in the sanctuary, unless you invite it to the pulpit and say, "Preach." When the heart pounds at a picture, it is not the picture that has entered the blood. It is our belief that has entered the picture. Withdraw the belief, and the puppet falls limp. Leave it propped without your breath, and it cannot speak. Now observe the practical mischief. Anticipatory anxiety sets up a false government in consciousness. It issues decrees, schedules alarms, drafts you into frantic management. Decisions are then made from recoil, not from guidance, from the itch to fix, not the wisdom that flows only in quiet. You begin to answer the picture instead of listening to the presence. You rearrange furniture in a dark room rather than switch on the light. In that state, even a good plan is only a better harness on the panic that drives it. The more you calculate, the less you hear. The more you argue with the forecast, the less you receive the word that stills the sea. We are not speaking to the world's methods of coping. We are speaking to students of the presence. The world says, accumulate information, run scenarios, hedge every risk, keep a second authority on retainer in case God does not appear on time. But we, as disciples, cannot live in that divided house. One must make a choice of one or the other. Either spirit is the government upon our shoulder, or imagination is. Actually, there is no relationship between the two. They are entirely separate and distinct. Anything that would keep alive a reliance on these pictures as advisory powers stands as a hindrance to realization. Therefore, the correction is not more data, not brighter pictures, not counter pictures. Please hear this. If what if is not information, the remedy is not additional information. The remedy is return to the principle of being. Back to God as here, God as all, God as peace. Father, reveal thyself here. Thy peace is mine. In that yielding, the inner government is restored. Peace first, then guidance. Not laws of fear, but the grace of spirit. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Liberty from pictures, liberty from their decrees. God is, and in that is the safety of this instant. And in that safety, the next step appears in its own unhurried way. Now, just try to follow this, because this is where most of the pain hides. The great misunderstanding is not that we are afraid, that is obvious enough, but that we bring our fear into prayer and call it faith. We enter the holy place and begin bargaining for outcomes, pleading for protection against pictures, rehearsing disaster in God's presence as if that were devotion. Father, make this not happen. Father, make that turn out. And all the while the heart is bowing to tomorrow as a power. Oh, no, no, no. That is not prayer. That is asking God to serve an idol we have fashioned in imagination. Please remember this point, because it is the pivot. As long as prayer is aimed at controlling tomorrow, fear remains your teacher. Not forecasting, not controlling, not securing every variable, oh no, no, no. Not building a better fence around the same two-power universe, God on one side and chance on the other. That divided plea, Lord, stand by me against what may come, still concedes a second presence with jurisdiction over your life. Actually, there is no relationship between God and the specter you have conceived. They are entirely separate and distinct. The specter lives only in the breath you loan it. God is, and that's enough to know. God is. That's all. Now listen. God is not a helper added to a risky future. God is not a power that comes to fix what another power has damaged. Never believe that, because in that way you dishonor God and enthrone fear. God is the only presence, peace itself, safety itself, life itself, intelligence itself. God does not give you peace as a parcel sent overnight. God is your peace, the very substance of awareness when you cease consulting a second authority. God does not send safety into a dangerous hour. God is the hour when realized, the now in which no rival law operates. So then what is treatment in our work? It is not a manipulation of scenes. It is inner stabilization. It is the decisive shift from asking for an improved future to realizing omnipresent God as the substance of now. It is the refusal to pray from the calendar and the consent to pray from being. We are not trying to move pieces on a board. We are letting the false board disappear in the light of the one presence. Resting there, please notice this. Resting there, the pulse quiets, the breath lengthens, and in that hush, you discover that peace is not the effect of a promise kept later. Peace is the cause, the law, the government here. Therefore, if God is and that is enough, then the only place to pray from is the now of God. Not from dread's forecast, not from willpower's clenched jaw, but from presence realized. From that point, our whole practice reduces to one movement, yielding awareness to God as here. And that is why in this work we use one prayer, not to negotiate with tomorrow, but to awaken to God now. And in that awakening, find that fear has nothing to fasten upon, and guidance follows as quietly as morning follows night. Thank you. Thank you. Now just try to follow this, and please remember it, because this is the heart of the work. The one prayer we use is very simple, very short, and entirely sufficient. Father, reveal thyself. Here, now. Thy peace is mine. Or, as we often say in one breath, Father, reveal thyself here. Thy peace is mine. You notice the brevity. You notice the finality. We are not calling a distant power. We are consenting to presence. Father, reveal thyself. Here, now. Thy peace is mine. Oh, no, no, no. This is not petition. This is not give me peace, not send me safety, not arrange tomorrow to suit my fear. Please remember, peace is not a product shipped from heaven to earth. Peace is the nature of God realized where you are, as you are, now. Therefore the prayer says, Thy peace is mine. Is, not will be. Is, not might become. God is, and that's enough to know. God is, that's all. Let that refrain steady the attention when it tries to run. God is, and that's enough to know. God is, that's all. Why does this end the tyranny of what if? Because the prayer does not enter the argument. It does not answer scenarios. It withdraws attention from them. It relocates consciousness to the only kingdom there is, the present spirit. The what if lives by borrowed breath. It survives by your gaze. Turn the gaze, and the picture starves. Withdraw belief, and the puppet falls. In this prayer, you cease consulting a second authority, and you stand where the government is already upon his shoulder. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Liberty from pictures and from their decrees. Now notice the inner architecture of these few words. Father, the acknowledgement of source, of life as itself, not as an occasional visitor. Reveal thyself, not do something to matter, but unveil what is already here as the substance of being. Here, now. A categorical denial of the future as a place of salvation. The sanctuary is this instant. Thy peace is mine. Identity, not import. Realization, not request. And over and under and through it all, God is, and that's enough to know. God is, that's all. Please realize, these are not magic syllables. Words do not heal. God realized is the healing. The prayer works because it stops negotiation with the future and yields awareness to God's present self-revelation. In that yielding, the heart hushes, the breath softens, and you feel the first evidence of true treatment, peace preceding guidance. My peace, not as the world giveth. Peace first, then the next step appears in a wisdom that is not hurried by fear. Now then, this must be practiced as a turning, not as a recital. We are not to force the mind with will or paint cheer over dread. Oh no. We are to consent, to let the prayer open the door inwardly so presence may be felt. In a moment we will see the inner mechanics of that turn, the relaxation by which the words become living realization. For the moment, remember only this. Father, reveal thyself. Here, now. Thy peace is mine. God is, and that's enough to know. God is, that's all. Now just try to follow this, because this is where many of us stumble and think we have failed, when in truth, we have not yet begun. The way to pray is not to push, it is to relax. Please remember that. Sit as you are and let the shoulders fall as if they are setting down a burden that was never yours. Unclench the jaw, soften the brow. Place the feet where they are and do not improve the posture except to let it be easy. Let the breath come as it wishes. Do not tug at it. Allow it to lengthen of itself as a tired child sinks into sleep. Hands open on the lap, eyes half closed or closed. No effort. We are not going after peace. Oh, no, no, no. We are letting peace have us. We are ceasing to run. Now then, inwardly the posture is the same. Listen. Do not reach. Do not lean forward in the mind as if to catch a distant word. Consent. Father, reveal thyself here. Thy peace is mine. Speak it once, perhaps twice, in a natural voice within, and then listen into the quiet underneath the words. The prayer is not a lever to move God. It is permission for God to move you out of strain into awareness. Be still and know that I am God. Let the silence between breaths do more work than any syllable you form. If thoughts arrive, let them pass unargued. The river carries twigs. The river is not the twigs. Rest as the river. God is, and that's enough to know. God is, that's all. How will you know the prayer is prayer and not self-hypnosis? By this sign, a quieting comes that does not depend on a single circumstance changing. The same bill may lie on the desk, the same appointment may be on the calendar, but the sea that was whipped is glass. There is no victory over anything. There is only the felt presence, and in that presence, the need to win vanishes. My peace, my peace. Do not rise at once to test it with, did it work? Oh no. That would be to break the silence with the old bargaining. Stay. Let the peace be the fact, the cause, the government of this instant. But what about planning? The mind cries. We will plan later. Please remember this point because it saves sorrow. Actually, there is no relationship between fear-driven planning and true guidance. They are entirely separate and distinct. Planning taken under the lash of anxiety builds its own alarms. First, return to principle. Let the government be upon his shoulder. In that rest, action will appear. Sometimes a clear step, sometimes a phone call, sometimes nothing but wait. You will not know until peace has spoken. And when peace speaks, there is no hurry in it, and no argument afterward. And when, as it will, the what-if darts back and tugs the sleeve, recognize it quickly as the old temptation to depart. Do not argue. Do not consult it as a second authority. Choose. Undivided. In that very breath return. Father, reveal thyself here. Thy peace is mine. Shoulders down. Breath soft. Listen. God is, and that's enough to know. God is, that's all. In that single choice again and again, the panic finds no perch, and presence, felt, does the dissolving we could never perform by will. Now just try to follow this, because all of our work gathers itself into this one fork in the road. You cannot live in God and live in the future at the same time. One must make a choice of one or the other. In the very instant the picture rises and the breath shortens, that is your altar of decision. Not tomorrow, not after 3 more thoughts, not after you've consulted a second authority. Here, now. Abide in God or consult fear. Please remember this point because it ends the long detour. The what-if ends not by argument but by choice. The panic has no air once you refuse it your breath. What is divided consciousness? It is the secret bargain. The lips say, Father, reveal thyself here, thy peace is mine. But the eyes continue to glance at the calendar. The heart still assigns the real power to the forecast and uses spiritual words as insurance. Oh, no, no, no. That is not reliance. That is supplementation. Actually, there is no relationship between these two governments. They are entirely separate and distinct. Either spirit is the government upon your shoulder, or imagination is. Either God is the only presence, or you have conceded a rival. To speak of trust while nursing a second authority is to keep fear on retainer, and as long as you do that, the body must stay braced for orders from a phantom court. Never believe fear is a guidance system. Please remember this prohibition. Fear is not instruction. It is seduction. An impersonal suggestion to leave the sanctuary and take counsel in a desert of conjecture. Treat it as that, impersonal. Do not honor it with discussion. Do not pin it to any person, place, or event. Let it pass through as wind passes over water. Withdraw your belief and the puppet falls. Decline to sign its papers and no decree can be entered against your peace. What then does undivided reliance feel like? Not passivity, not limp resignation, but quiet certainty. It is the stillness in which the pulse is no longer boss, the hush in which the next step can be recognized without hurry. There is readiness in it, hands available, feet available, but there is no scramble. You will find you can speak plainly, make a call, cancel a trip, take a walk, or wait, and there is no aftertaste of doubt. because the act rose from peace and not from recoil. Peace first, then guidance. Action as effect, not as cause. Now then, choose. In the very breath the picture knocks, answer within, Father, reveal thyself here. Thy peace is mine. Shoulders down, breath soft. Do not consult the second authority. God is, and that's enough to know. God is, that's all. Stay there until the inner government is felt, and then let the day proceed under that one jurisdiction. And please hear the transition, because this preserves the choice. If you parade this work before others, if you make a show of your calm or a drama of your fears, the ego will reclaim the pulpit, and the old council of what if will reconvene. The way to keep the root single is secrecy and humility. Enter into thy closet. In that hiddenness, the reliance stays undivided, the peace remains the fact, and guidance continues to appear in its quiet, sufficient way. Thank you. Thank you. Now just try to follow this, because this is the safeguard that keeps the choice alive. Enter into thy closet. Take the fear inward to God. Do not dramatize it outward. Please remember this point. The what if feeds on conversation, on rehearsal, on the spectacle of telling and retelling. It grows fat on your voice and on the eyes of your listeners. Oh, no, no, no. Do not give it that meal. When you circulate fear among friends, you attach your name to it. You stitch your identity into its seams, and then you must wear it. The personal self swells. The gallery fills with new pictures. Each remark paints another stroke on the canvas of dread. That is not help. That is hypnosis. But secrecy is power. Why? Because secrecy dries up the fuel of ego and yields the case to the Father, which seeth in secret. Hear the word. Enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret. And thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. Not with the applause of men, not with the drama of success stories, but with the quiet evidence of peace and the unobstructed appearing of right action. When the door is shut, the self that would perform, explain, and manage has no stage. The only actor is God as presence. And in that theater, there is no role for panic. So here is our practical rule. Please keep it, and it will keep you. When the what if arises, do not speak it first. Pray it first. Close the lips, open the heart. Father, reveal thyself here. Thy peace is mine. Say it once, inwardly, and listen. If you must speak to a fellow disciple later, do so without embroidery, without drama, without fishing for reassurance. But first the closet, first the Father, first the peace. God is, and that's enough to know. God is, that's all. Now then, humility. Be grateful when you do not know how to fix it. Oh, be very grateful. That is the holy vacancy through which divine understanding enters. Our cleverness has been the door left ajar for what if to slip in and offer advice. Let the posture be, I do not know, but thou knowest. His understanding is infinite, yours is not required. In that admission the mind ceases its spinning, and in that stillness the government returns to his shoulder. You will notice what follows. With secrecy and humility, the peace becomes stable. Not a mood, not a momentary hush, but a quiet law in the midst. And from that law, direction is known. We learn to read peace as the sign of rightness, and to distrust panic as mere suggestion. Peace first, felt unquestioned, and then the step appears, and it bears the same peace it rose from. Keep it hidden, keep it humble, and you will find that the what-if has nothing to drink. Its throat is dry, its voice is thin, and the presence fills the house. Thank you. Thank you. Now just try to follow this, because it seals the order of our living. Peace first, then guidance. Please remember this point. Peace is not the reward for solving what if. Peace is the atmosphere in which right decisions appear. Peace is cause. Wise action is effect. Oh, no. Do not reverse it. Do not run after a dozen fixes and then try to soak in calm as a prize. Actually, there is no relationship between anxiety-driven activity and genuine safety. They are entirely separate and distinct. The one is flight, the other is government. How does the counterfeit work? It dresses itself in industry. You will notice the rush. Extra emails, hurried calls, an evening of spreadsheets, contingency upon contingency. So busy, so responsible, and yet the stomach is tight and the forehead hot. That is not guidance. That is recoil. It multiplies complications because fear cannot build anything that does not carry its own blueprint of further fear. Decisions taken under the lash must be maintained under the lash. They breed after themselves. You make 3 moves to secure tomorrow, and each move invents 2 more to maintain. The treadmill spins, the night shortens, and the heart whispers, "If I stop, the whole thing will fall." Oh no. That is proof enough that peace was not the cause. What then is the test? Discernment is very simple in this way. When peace is present, guidance is plain, proportionate, and timely. It is not theatrical. It does not overreach. It is 1 phone call, not 20. 1 sentence, not an apologetic essay. A wait, not a scramble. A visit, not an avoidance. And after it is done, there is no aftertaste of doubt, because the act rose from the stillness that birthed it. My peace. My peace. But when peace is absent, please hear this. Delay if you can. Enter your closet and return to the order. Father, reveal thyself here. Thy peace is mine. Do not force a step to silence the fear. Let the fear be silenced so the step can be seen. Be still and know that I am God. Now then, do not fear that peace will make you negligent. Peace is not indifference. Peace is presence, God's presence, realized as the atmosphere in which responsibilities are met with clarity. Peace does not cancel your appointment. It cancels the dread in which you would attend it. Peace does not pay your bill. It removes the panic that blocks wisdom and supply. With peace first, you find your hands ready, your voice plain, your timing kind. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Liberty from haste, liberty from second-guessing, liberty to do the simple thing that is actually required. Please keep the sequence sacred. Do not ask action to produce peace. Let peace produce action. Sit down, shoulders low, breath soft. Father, reveal thyself here. Thy peace is mine. Wait until the hush is a fact, not a hope. Then rise and do the next thing revealed in that same hush. In this way, life comes under one government, the government upon his shoulder, and the day unfolds without the whiplash of what if. And I know the next question forms already. But what if the worst happens? Ah, that is the final root of fear, and we will face it squarely. Just now, remember only this. In spiritual treatment, peace is the cause, and wise action is the effect. God is, and that's enough to know. God is, that's all. Thank you. Thank you. Now just try to follow this, because we are coming to the stump under the soil, the one that keeps sending up shoots even after the branches have been cut. The what if in its final form is even if. Even if I lose this health, this relationship, this reputation, this money, this life, what then? And the mind, anxious to feel a semblance of control, begins to run its drills, rehearse, ensure, defend, pre-suffer. Please remember this point. These drills are not information. They are a temptation to live as if life were a set of conditions that can abandon you. Oh, no, no, no. That is the old hypnosis. The belief that your being is held in externals and must be guarded by vigilance. The hidden engine beneath every what if is fear of loss. The hidden lie is that loss can touch life. Now hear the correction that ends the terror at the root. God is life. God is your being. Therefore, life is not held by conditions. Conditions are held in consciousness, and consciousness rests in God. Your health does not hold life. Life expresses as health. Your bank does not hold supply. God as being is supply expressing. Your reputation does not hold worth. God constitutes your worth. Actually, there is no relationship between the form and the fact. They are entirely separate and distinct. The form is the picture on the surface. The fact is God as the substance of you. When consciousness abides in God, the forms take care of themselves, change, appear, disappear. And yet you remain in life, because life is what you are in God. Listen to the ancient assurances we as disciples know in our bones. Who shall separate us from the love of Christ? Neither death, nor life, nor things present, nor things to come. My kingdom is not of this world. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Do you see the implication? The even if belongs to a kingdom of change. Your safety belongs to a kingdom not of this world. Liberty is not obtained by securing all outcomes. Liberty is realized by discovering that no outcome can separate you from the one presence that is your being. Withdraw belief from the second authority, and the puppet falls. God is, and that's enough to know. God is, that's all. Therefore, our prayer does not negotiate with catastrophe. It abides in reality. Not prevent the worst, but, Father, reveal thyself here. Thy peace is mine. Say it once, twice, and then listen until the sense of presence is a felt fact. In that presence, the sting is gone because the premise of loss has been pulled out. You may be led to act, yes, but the action rises from liberty, not dread. Even if a form departs, life does not. Even if a door closes, being remains as being. My peace, not as the world giveth. Now then, take this into your hours. At night, before sleep tries to carry the mind into rehearsal, close the door and return. Father, reveal thyself here. Thy peace is mine. Let the breath lengthen. Let the presence be felt. Drift in God, not in pictures. In the morning, before the hand reaches for the device, reach inward. God is, and that's enough to know. God is, that's all. At the sudden trigger in the day, the email, the look, the news, do not consult the second authority. Shoulders down, breath soft, one inward turn. Father, reveal thyself here. Thy peace is mine. This is the loop, the simple return that dissolves the even if before it can decorate the mind. And you will find, as surely as dawn follows night, that peace appears first and guidance follows, and the day proceeds under one government, free. Thank you. Thank you. Now just try to follow this, because I want you to leave with something you can use the very next breath. Your whole victory over what if is not complex. It is this repeated, simple return to presence. Father, reveal thyself here. Thy peace is mine. Please remember this point. 3 returns will carry you: morning, midday, and night. First, the morning. Before news, before messages, before the hand reaches outward, reach inward. Oh, no, no, no. Do not open the door to the world and then attempt to squeeze God into a corner. Sit, shoulders down, breath soft. Enter thy closet, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10, and consent. Father, reveal thyself here. Thy peace is mine. Do not command a feeling. Do not grade your silence. Simply acknowledge reality. God is, and that's enough to know. God is, that's all. Let the day begin under one government, the government upon His shoulder. When the device calls, answer later. When the plan tries to form, let it wait its turn. Peace first, then guidance. In this way you anchor the day in principle, not in weather, news, or mood. Second, the midday interruption. The first surge comes, the email, the look, the number on the screen, and the picture begins to race like a film. Stop it at once. Please remember, stop the mental movie immediately. Relax the body so the mind cannot recruit it for panic. Shoulders down, jaw free, breath lengthening by itself. Then, inwardly, one sentence. Father, reveal thyself here. Thy peace is mine. Say it once or twice and listen until the body registers quiet, until the sea inside has glassed. Actually, there is no relationship between fear and guidance. They are entirely separate and distinct. Do not plan while frightened. Do not send the message to silence the dread. Let dread be silenced so the right message can appear. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Liberty from hurry, liberty from second-guessing. When the quiet is a fact, not a hope, take the step that arises in that same quiet. Third, the night watch. If awakened by fear, do not negotiate with shadows. Oh no. Do not rehearse. Do not argue your case to the ceiling. Do not design a dozen tomorrows in the dark. Enter the closet. Lie as you are, and let the only activity be prayer. Father, reveal thyself here. Thy peace is mine. If thoughts parade, let them pass untagged. If the heart pounds, let the breath soften. Feel the bed hold you, yes, but more, feel God hold you. Be still, and know that I am God. Stay with it until peace returns. If it returns and fades, return again. The clock is not your measure. Presence is. Keep it secret and humble. No late-night broadcasts, no fishing for reassurance. Thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly, with rest, or with a word, or with a calm that carries you into morning. Now please hear this safeguard. This is principle, not mood management. We are not trying to feel better. We are acknowledging what is true. God is not a wave of pleasant sensation. God is being, omnipresent, the only presence. The prayer is not cosmetics for anxiety. It is consent to reality. Peace is cause. Wise action is effect. In these three returns, you are not manufacturing safety. You are refusing a second authority and resting in the one. So carry it with you as your daily treatment. Morning. Before the world, God. Midday. Before the plot, God. Night. Before the drills, God. In every return, one sentence, one hush, one government. Father, reveal thyself here. Thy peace is mine. God is, and that's enough to know. God is, that's all. Thank you. Thank you.